Hello, once more, everyone. Welcome back to the 2024 NFL predictions as we get into these Week 5 NFL predictions here. 7 games on the schedule, just 7 good games this week to predict that I'll have for you all this week. I've had a lot of people comment and question me, why don't I do all of them? But the truth is, I only do 7 because if I do all the games of the week, it would make the videos a little longer. So try to keep the videos between 10 and 15 minutes. Okay? So that's the deal. Last week I went 2-5, which brings my personal season record to 12-16. I don't have my computer, as you can see with me with the backgrounds. So I'm 12-16 though, after going 2-5 last week. So with that being said, week number 5, 7 games on the schedule. Let's get started. 2 teams unbeaten as well in the predictions. Let's get started with this first one coming up between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons. Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield coming 3-1 against Falcons team, 2-2, playing on Thursday Night Football this week. And talking about the Buccaneers last week, I picked against them. I picked the Eagles to win that game, the rematch of the NFC wildcard round from last year. And of course, the Buccaneers fooled me, beating the Eagles. I've learned this: you pick against the Buccaneers, they'll prove you wrong, and they did last week. With that being said, I think this game between Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins and the Falcons and Buccaneers and their 2 teams, I think the Buccaneers, they are proving that they're a team that wins this division, and they can prove that. And with that being said, I'm taking the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football because I don't want to have the Buccaneers prove me wrong again and pick against them. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers here on Thursday night to get us started, to get the week started. Moving on, our next game coming up Sunday morning, the 2-2 New York Jets going against the unbeaten Minnesota Vikings 4-0. Yes, the 4-0 Vikings. Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, Vikings. Interesting, to say the least. 4-0 this game coming up on Sunday morning from London, England, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So very early morning action between the Vikings and the Jets in London. Looks like it could be a fun matchup. And speaking of Vikings, one of 2 remaining unbeaten teams, 4-0 on the season. The other team, Kansas City Chiefs, my favorite team. We'll talk about them in a minute with their matchup. Focus on the Vikings and the Jets. Over the Vikings, 4-0, yeah, they've proved that they can beat teams. I picked against them last week, picking the Packers against them last week when the game was in Lambeau Field. Of course, I was wrong on that one. And even though I was wrong, I did learn my lesson about the Vikings. But talking about Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers, he's had plenty of times against Vikings in his career when he was with the Packers. Can he prove that he can do it again? I think there's a likely possibility he can do it this week against former NFC North division rival. And with that being said, I think this game's going to be pretty close here in London this week on Sunday morning. And with that being said, I think the Jets come out on top, but I think it comes down to the last play of the game, possibly. Maybe a field goal, possibly, with that being said. But I do have the Jets winning this one, surprisingly. Sorry, Vikings fan. Sorry, Viking fans. I'm picking against your team who's 4-0. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I don't get that pick wrong again this week. Picking Aaron Rodgers' former team, the Packers against Vikings in Green Bay last week. Vikings won. This week I'm going with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets against the Vikings again. Hope I'm not wrong this time, but you know what I'm thinking. I'm picking the Jets this time. Next up, we have the Buffalo Bills, who come in 3-1 on the year. And we have the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud of the Texans, 3-1 as well. Both these teams are pretty good. Bills, last week, did I pick that game last week? I don't remember. Last time I picked the Bills was on the Monday night game a few weeks back. I picked against the Bills on Sunday. I picked the Ravens to beat them. And the Ravens did win that game 35-10, so that was the game I picked against the Bills. And going up another tough road game for the Bills, having to go to Houston this time. 3-0 record for both teams. C.J. Stroud of the Texans. C.J. Stroud, one of those young quarterbacks who's proven that he can play good. And when he does play good in his career, he gets big plays, makes plays for his team, and they get big passes downfield. And with that being said, I think the Texans and Bills, I think this one's going to be a close game as well. With that being said, I think the Texans and Bills come down to the wire. I think the Bills finally get a game done and beat Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud, as I do think the Bills get to 4-1 on the year. Surprising teams. Going with all the road teams so far. We'll see about that. Next up, Cleveland Browns coming in. They're taking on the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from last year out of LSU, the rookie out of LSU. The Washington Commanders last week led the team in Arizona, beat the Cardinals, a game I picked against them. And I think I learned my lesson with Jaden Daniels in the Arizona and the Washington Commanders. Commanders are proven they can be a good team. And the 3-1 and a rookie quarterback leading the team, it reminds me kind of like C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans from last year. Young quarterback, a rookie who's leading his team. And last year, C.J. Stroud did it late for the Texans, though. This year, the rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner from last year, he's doing it early. He's leading a team to a winning record. He's in first place. He feels that this team feels comfortable. I think against Cleveland Browns, it's going to make him feel even comfortable because I do think the Washington Commanders get a big win this week, as I do think they get to 4-1, as I do think they maintain the ground in NFC East, as I do think they get their 4th win of the season. So taking the Washington Commanders there in that one. Moving on. Two teams that are 2-2, 500. Las Vegas Raiders, Denver Broncos. Two teams, Broncos coming off a win in New York against the Jets on last Sunday. And the Raiders coming in 2-2 as well, without Devontae Adams, who missed last week with a hamstring injury. Question is, will he be back this week? I don't know. The other question is, the Broncos 2-2. Both these teams are 2-2. I'm not so sure what I think. The storylines in this matchup is the whole AFC West. You have the Broncos, Raiders, and the Chargers, all 2-2. Only one of them played the Chiefs. That was the Chargers over the weekend, and the Chiefs won that game to get to 4-0. And personally, I just think this is a division. The AFC West is a division where it's going to be a dogfight to find out who can stand second. Because if they can't get to where Kansas City is, then neither of these teams are going to do it. But if none of them can do that, well, it's going to take one of these teams. Last year was Raiders who won against the Chiefs. We'll see what happens this year. But overall, looking at the Broncos and Raiders, this matchup should be pretty good. Playing in Denver should be interesting to see. Overall, the Broncos and Raiders, I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game after last week's result for the Broncos against the Jets, even though I do think it's going to be low-scoring. With that being said, I do think the Broncos are going to win at home this week. I think Bo Nix is going to have a good day for the Broncos at quarterback in the matchup. Moving on. We have the 2-2 Dallas Cowboys against the 3-1 Pittsburgh Steelers and Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, Justin Fields, the only issues I have with him this year as the Steelers quarterback is he lost last week. A game he lost last week that I picked them to win to go 4-0. I did think they were going to go to 4-0, the Steelers. I was so wrong about that. But looking back at it, the Steelers lost 27-24 to Indianapolis Colts. Overall, I do think this matchup for Steelers, Justin Fields going back home is going to be a better chance for the Steelers taking a win this week, which I do think the Steelers and Cowboys will play good. Overall, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, I have some questions about them. Overall, is what are they, and how do they play? That's the only question I have about the Cowboys. I do think Justin Fields and the Steelers, they do better at home, and I do think they get another win and get to 4-1 on the year. So I'm taking the Steelers here, and that one comes Sunday afternoon. Moving on to our next game. New Orleans Saints 2-2 against the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The one biggest issue for the Chiefs in this matchup is Rashee Rice, who's most likely out for a significant amount of time, got hurt because Patrick Mahomes landed on top of him, injured him. And so that's the question. You go without Rashee Rice. Can you replace him? Like, say, were the rookie out of Texas. There's been some shines of light of hope with him. As a rookie out of Texas, he's been a good receiver so far. And Travis Kelce finally came back to being himself. You just need to find Travis Kelce the ball more. That's what happened last year when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, when they won Super Bowl 58. And if you're going to win their Super Bowl in a row, which is kind of hard to do, winning 2 is hard, but winning 3, that's probably most likely impossible, I think, at this point in time. But looking at this matchup, Chiefs and Saints, 4-0 Chiefs, Monday Night Football against the Saints, and Derek Carr. It's going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. Back home, Kansas City, 2-0. All 4 of their games this season have been games won by 1 score or less. So a touchdown, a few points or less, you know. So it's kind of tough, I think. As a Chiefs fan, I don't know what I really think about how this team plays. The offensive line is a big issue still. If you look, as I look at it, multiple penalties. Watching part of the second quarter of the game, I didn't watch the second half because they're down at the time. I was thinking, oh, they're not going to win this game. And I'll just say this: the defense, they have some issues too, but the offensive line and the defense, there's some questions there. And the wide receiver, without Rashee Rice, that's going to be a big question. He came out to be a good wide receiver last year. The question is, can someone who's going to replace him? You can't have Travis Kelce and like 35 years old replace everybody when they get hurt, but just like last year. But that was not happened last year, and Travis Kelce had a great season. Overall, I think this matchup is going to be interesting to see. We'll see if the Saints can stick around with the Chiefs. But that being said, I do think the Chiefs will get a big win, though. I do think this will be their first game where they actually get a win by 2 scores or more. So give the Chiefs there to win on my side, as I can give them the win there for Monday Night Football. So with that being said, recap who I'm taking this week. Starting on Thursday Night Football, I'm taking Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers over Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. On Sunday morning in London, I'm taking the Jets and Aaron Rodgers over Sam Darnold and the Vikings. In Houston, I'm taking Josh Allen and the Bills over C.J. Stroud and the Texans. And in Washington, I'm taking Jada Daniels, rookie quarterback, and the Commanders over Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. In Denver, I'm taking Bo Nix and the Broncos over the Raiders. And in Pittsburgh, I'm taking Justin Fields and Steelers over Dak Prescott and Cowboys. And in Kansas City on Monday Night Football, I'm taking the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce against the Saints and Derek Carr. With that being said, that is Week 5 NFL predictions right back here. Comment below your favorite teams playing if you think they're going to win this week. And with that being said, I'll see you right back here in week number 6 next Tuesday. And don't forget to watch, like, subscribe, tell your friends as well to do the same if they haven't done so yet. Also, don't forget to hit that notification button below so you know when there's a new video on the channel. With that being said, have a good day. Stay safe and peace out. And I'll see you right back here on after the Chiefs game Monday night with the NFL prediction recap for week number 5. Have a good day. Stay safe and peace out, everyone. Bye for now. See ya.